Hey everybody, welcome back to Miles for Mental Health. Today we're going to be doing a little overview on how to set up the Roof Nest Condor XL. By far one of the most important aspects of my overlanding setup. First, we're going to start by unlatching the straps that hook the roof of the roof nest tent to the base of the roof nest tent. Once you've climbed up on top of the tent, you can lean down and unclip the bungee cord that's keeping the sides of the tent tucked into the shell when the tent is closed. After that, and after missing some ducks, you can reach down and grab the ladder that sits on top of the base of the roof nest. I like to extend the ladder one rung at a time, and as I'm doing that, I'll stand up to just get better balance. Then I let the entire ladder stretch out off to the side of the truck, where I'll then extend my feet down to the fender and then the wheel, and jump down to the ground where I can grab the ladder. Then, as I grab the ladder and extend it outward, I'm going to actually push against the bottom of the ladder to get the lip of the roof nest out, and then I'll slowly lower the roof nest down as the inside struts open up and secure into place in the shell of the tent. After this is complete, I'll set the ladder down and make sure that the ladder is the right size. I'll take a couple tries to just make sure that the roof nest is entirely flat. It doesn't look like it's flat right now just because we were on a slightly off camber route. So I think that there was a 1 or 2 degree pitch that had the vehicle tilted. After I've got myself up on top of the roof nest, I can begin to unzip the front of the tent or the entrance. And I'll be rolling up those edges and making sure that I've got enough room to enter into the tent. I have to watch out for the rain fly and the wind because sometimes it'll smack you right upside the face. As I am getting control of the rainfly, I'll unlatch the pins that are keeping in place the rainfly on the edges of the tent. These are essential to connect back in place once we're putting the tent away, which you'll see in another video perhaps. I'll throw the rainfly over the tent and unzip it to get in. The zippers on the roof nest tents are actually really high quality, letting you easily enter in and exit out of the tent. I've never had to worry about catching a side of the tent inside of the zippers. Once I'm inside the tent, there are a few pieces that I'll hook onto the bottom of the tent. What I'm attaching right now goes in a small rail right on the base of the tent. This is the shoe bag, so I'll be able to take my shoes off and stick them right into the bag. The bag actually has holes on the bottom of it to allow for mud and water to drip through, so it's staying nice and clean. Most of the times that I've used it, my feet have actually been dry, so I haven't really had to worry about that, but it's a key aspect of a rooftop tent. You need to make sure that you're not getting your sleeping area dirty. Inside of the roof nest, I keep a battery pack at all times, which somehow has kept 44% charged for almost a year. It's just a nice little safeguard for if I end up forgetting some of the batteries. After I put away the battery pack, I'll start to unlatch the canopies that are over top of the windows. These act as an element of the rainfly, and so the rainfly doesn't actually go over top of these. But I'll use these long poles and slot them into the bottom of the tent, bend them upwards, and catch the hook on the edge of the canopy where there's an eye hole, as you can see there. The canopies get pretty taut, and so even in 45, 50, even 60 mile per hour winds, I've been able to leave these canopies up. I'll zip up the mesh net And then typically we'll roll up the actual tent material until we're ready to go to sleep. The tent again uses these easy to use latches, which are just comprised of black pins and orange loops. Then I'll move over to the other side of the tent and perform the same actions. After you've completed opening the canopies on both sides of the tent, you'll want to make sure that the tent is readily prepared for when you'll be going to sleep later that night. I like to crack the edges of the tent material on each side of the tent just to allow a little bit of wind to flow through, which helps reduce condensation and stuffiness inside of the tent. Just want to note that these poles do sometimes have a little bit of trouble getting slotted into the base of the tent, but as long as you angle them diagonally at about a 60-degree angle and do a little bit of a wiggle, you should be able to get them slotted in nicely. Overall, this is a really quick process. It only takes me 5 or 6 minutes, I think that's how far we are into the video, in order to get the most difficult parts of the tent setup complete. After both canopies have been fully opened up and the tent material has been rolled up, then it's time to work on the top of the tent, where we'll need to ensure that the rainfly is secure. The tent material on top of the tent works in pretty much the same way that the tent material on the sides of the tent works. There's a tent layer and then a mesh layer. This time we're actually going to extend through the window of the tent, which is essential for rolling up the rainfly. I try to get the edges of the rainfly tucked into the roll, and then I just work it about a foot at a time. You'll see there's a black strap as well that's being rolled up into the rainfly, and that's okay. That's just what we need in order to close the tent later. When we close the tent later, the rainfly will be fully unrolled and that black strap will be available. It's important to tuck the edges of the rainfly into the shell of the tent, because the loops that actually secure the rainfly to the hard shell are pretty tight. You'll see that I'm having to work pretty hard to get this black pin through the orange loop there. Once you've got it though, that rainfly is not going anywhere. We'll do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll be done. While it is likely that the Roof Nest Condor XL could survive some amount of rain without the rainfly up, I would definitely recommend putting the rainfly back down if you have, let's say, greater than a 20% chance of rain. During this particular trip to Great Sand Dunes National Park, we had a 0% chance of rain every single day. And just like that, in under 10 minutes, that's how you set up a Roof Nest Condor XL. While there are a lot of incredible reasons to have a rooftop tent like the Roof Nest Condor XL, I do want to stress that a camping experience can be as good, if not better, in a ground tent. This ground tent, the Marmot Tungsten 2-person, is a tent that my close friend Paul owns. He's very proud of the cot inside of the tent that he has, his chair, his floor mat, his lights. These are all things that you might find difficult to do in a Roof Nest Condor XL. Creating a comfortable sleep environment for yourself, for your family, and for your friends is essential for improved mental health outcomes. This matters no matter where you are setting up your sleep for the night, be it at your home, in a hotel, or out in the wilderness. I invested in the Roof Nest Condor XL at a very early stage in my camping journey because I knew that I wanted the best sleep under the stars. The quality of your nightly sleep has been shown to impact your overall mental health, depression levels, anxiety levels, rumination frequency, stress levels, and even symptoms of psychosis. It has also been shown that a greater amount of sleep leads to greater improvements in these mental health outcomes. Research does suggest that intervening to improve sleep quality can actually work as a mechanism for lowering the burden of mental health disorder. While the global learning agenda around the prevalence of poor sleep in higher income countries and lower income countries is still advancing, what can be said is that there is certainly a presence of poor sleep in some lower and middle income countries. Kenya, Indonesia, and Bangladesh are examples. What can also be said is that there is a strong association between sleep problems and depression in countries like these. Miles for Mental Health recognizes the importance of taking a systems-focused approach towards improving mental health outcomes in lower middle-income countries, including by improving sleep outcomes, and we'd love for you to join us on this initiative. Please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Additionally, of course, you can find some bonus content on our Patreon channel, should you desire to make a tax-deductible contribution to Miles for Mental Health's efforts. Thank you so much for joining us today as we learned a little bit more about how sleep and mental health are associated. We're really looking forward to you joining our community. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Miles4MH, or you can find us on LinkedIn, Patreon, and Facebook by searching Miles for Mental Health. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.